everybody. Welcome to Friday, as we like to say at head office, TGIF. We've made it to the final day of the week. My name is Leah Renwick. I am the East Coast State Manager here at the FBAA. Actually got to do a slight little change on that title now because I have had a shift in it. I'm now looking after Queensland, New South Wales, ACT, and our good friends up in the Northern Territory. And it is my pleasure to be hosting this morning's webinar for you. I'm coming to you live today from Canberra. We've got our team spread out absolutely across this great country of ours this week, with plenty of opportunities to be out there conferencing. I ducked up here for Outsource, and our second events team and Mark are currently sitting down in Adelaide, having wrapped up the Better Business Summit and Awards night last night. And if any of the award winners are online today, congratulations. And for those that who attended yesterday, I hope you had a fantastic day. They're also now heading to, from what I believe, AFG have got their innovator session down in Adelaide today. So it is fantastic to be back out conferencing. It is great to see so many faces out there as well. This morning, I'm going to be joined by Phoebe Bracken. Now, you may notice on your screen, my name's also coming up as Phoebe. And for those of you that know me, my name is definitely not Phoebe. But shortly, I'm going to pass over to you. But we're just going to do some quick housekeeping rules for this morning, guys. Just to let you know that should you wish to ask any questions during this morning's presentation, please pop them in the chat box on your control panel for the webinar. Phoebe and myself will go through the questions at the end of the webinar, and that'll either be verbally or by responding to you directly via messages. Please note you will also get a link to our FBAA YouTube channel with the recording following this webinar to watch any of our previous videos and also this one, and you'll find them beneficial to you in any training you're doing, and you've also got the opportunity to get some more CPD hours behind you. So Phoebe, good morning. Welcome to your first webinar with us. And I'm going to hand everything over to you this morning so we can be better educated on making asset finance easy with Amfin.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to it.
Fantastic. The screen is all yours.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much to everyone for joining this morning. I'm really pleased to be here on behalf of Amfin. Some of you may have heard of us, some maybe not so much. We are a referral partner for your asset and cash flow requirements. So a really broad scope that we can assist you with. A quick agenda of what we will be covering off today. So I'll do a quick introduction to myself, and then we will get into why you should start thinking about asset finance if it's not already part of your remit. The different products you can look at with the consumer and the commercial asset finance space, how you even do asset finance and how you can build it into your business. And then we'll cover off a little bit about Amfin and a couple of success stories and wins that we've had most recently. And then questions, as Leah mentioned, at the end. Okay, so a quick introduction to myself. I am one of the relationship managers here. I joined the team at the start of the year and I'm here to assist with absolutely everything. So in a similar function to your lender BDMs. So we have state-based relationship managers similar to the FBAA. So I look after primarily Sydney, ACT. I'm currently caretaking Victoria and South Australia and Tasmania. And then we've got my colleague Holly up in Queensland who looks after Queensland, WA and the Northern Territory. Your relationship managers are here to assist with onboarding and educational content. We also are here to workshop scenarios and make sure the right consultant looks after each of your deals. And then also just as a troubleshooting point of contact, understanding what you need from a referral partner and also a bit of an escalation point. So let's have a look at why asset and cash flow finance is a valuable service offering for you. If you're a mortgage broker or if you don't currently engage in asset finance, or even if you do a little bit more, how you can really maximize the return and your investment in that space. So the goal of every broker is to retain their clients, and to allow you to do that, it means being able to look after their every finance need. So more often than not, after a client settles on their first home, their next big purchase is either going to be their dream car or the furniture and white goods to get them settled in their home sooner. As a trusted broker, as you would be having taken care of their mortgage, it makes sense for the client to then come back to you for their next finance requirements. So being able to either write their next loan directly or work with a referral partner to offer solutions to your clients means that you can keep the conversation going with your client and they're less likely to talk to another broker about their next finance requirement. So in terms of growing your client base, so by building asset and cash flow finance into your overall service offering, means you can also generate new clients on your books who might come to you for a personal loan, or they might come to you for a car loan, which then may lead into a mortgage or another opportunity with that client. So it's 70% more likely for you to successfully sell to an existing client rather than the 20% conversion you'd see on a new client. So once you've already got a client engaged with you from one deal, it's far easier to then engage with them to chat to them about their next purchase, whether that be their investment property, their home loan, or even another asset. Asset and cash flow finance is a fast moving beast, and while your mortgages are ticking over in the background at a longer lead time, you can also see some nice quick conversions for asset and cash flow. With that quick conversion comes quick commission payments, which can aid in generating cash flow for you and your business. And lastly, by offering a range of finance products within your business, it allows you to pivot and lean on promoting different types of finance products and business lending options when you're seeing a lull in your primary business function. So this can aid in protecting you from lumpy cash flow for your business and keeping you busy year round. Moving on to the different finance products that you may consider building into your business and your clients will have needs for. So probably no surprises on the consumer space. You've got your car loans and your personal loans, which are huge opportunities for your clients to naturally, for you to naturally build them into your conversation with clients and really anticipate your clients' next needs. Then there is also your caravans, your motorbikes and your jet skis and boats, which a lot of lenders don't look at, but there are a few lenders that have specific policies for those assets. And then within that space as well, you've got balloon refinances, you've got midterm refinances, as well as insurances that are integral for settling on those deals. In the commercial finance space, probably no surprises, and something that's becoming more and more frequent, especially as we get towards the end of financial year, is your motor vehicles, your trucks, trailers. But then there are also lenders who will look specifically at your construction goods, your agricultural equipment, and then earth moving and transport and logistics pieces of equipment. There are also lenders who will look specifically at your niche pieces of equipment, whether that be manufacturing equipment. We've seen a lot of CNC machines requiring finance as manufacturing is coming back onshore to Australia. And then there are also lenders that will look at your fit outs, your technology and your tertiary assets that are a real niche in the market. There are also in the commercial space all of your unsecured business loans and lines of credit. As well as sale and leaseback and trade loans and invoice financing. So there's a lot of scope of how you can really build that into your business and assist your clients with their every need, whether that be consumer or commercial. Okay, so everyone always asks then, it sounds like a really good opportunity to start looking at asset and cash flow finance, but how do we actually do it? So there's a couple of ways that you can build it into your service offering. Either become accredited with a referral partner or do it yourself. Amfin is a referral partner and we do offer 3 service methods depending on how much you'd like to be in the process. The tick and flick is our most popular service method and what we'll focus on primarily because it's easy and it's the lowest touch model where you see really quick conversions. So we receive the basic lead, including name, email address, and phone number, as well as any notes you've had with your clients and the conversations that you've had, just so the client doesn't feel like they're repeating themselves and it is a nice warm referral. Then it will always be, for a tick and flick, Phoebe calling from Amfin, contacting you on behalf, for example, of Leah from FBAA. We'll then look after everything from there, and I'll cover off the ins and outs of a tick and flick a little bit later. An assisted application is where you complete the application, including all of the details of your client, their residency status, their living expenses, assets and liabilities, for example. And then we will then step in to workshop the deal with lenders based on the details that have been provided, and then recommend a couple of quotes for your client and look after the application and settlement from there. So it's a bit more of a 50-50 split. And then a full application, which makes up a small portion of the deals that we place with lenders, is certainly more hands-on for the referring broker. It allows the referring broker to complete the application as well as picking the lender for the deal and the rate, ensuring that the lender policy is met, And then our processing team will simply vet the deal and submit to the lender on your behalf. So this is a really great option for experienced asset finance brokers who want to get access to lenders they don't have direct accreditation with, or they don't have the admin function in-house to be able to place the deal themselves. Then the other option, if you don't want to go down the route of a referral partner, is to build it into your business and do it yourself. So that would be, usually looks like involving hiring additional staff, getting direct accreditation with the asset finance lenders, and then taking the application and submitting it straight to the lender. So there's a lot of options to consider about how you can build asset finance and cash flow finance into your business. So Amfin, if I was to give you one tagline about what we do, so we're a referral partner for you as brokers to assist with both consumer and commercial asset, cash flow and insurance needs. We really have the goal of being a one-stop shop to assist you with any deals that you don't place in-house. And we focus only on asset and cash flow. We don't have any mortgage brokers in-house. So we're really just here to gap fill for you. A little bit about Amfin and what we really pride ourselves on. So we have access to over 60 lenders on our panel. There's actually a few more, probably about 84. 60 are your kind of household names, the ones that you would know more frequently. And then we do have about 24, 25 niche lenders who will look at either niche asset types, niche policy types, and then we do also have a couple of private lenders available as well for those niche commercial needs. We really pride ourselves on being customer service first finance as a result of that, and that's a service that we offer. So when we receive a lead in the tick and flick space, we'll be in touch with both yourself as the referring broker first, and then your client we'll call the client on your behalf within 30 minutes. That is to ensure that we're on the front foot, the client knows that we're moving quickly with them as it's required for the deal. And throughout the process, you can expect fast turnaround time. So we have an SLA that every deal will be touched every 2 business days, if not sooner. And you can keep track of that. We've got a really cool online partner portal. It's super easy to use. You can get direct accreditation with the portal to log in, which means that you can track the lead progress at your own time. So that looks like all of the notes from our finance consultants. It looks like really good transparency in terms of the total amount being financed, your brokerage, origination fee, and then the commission split that you can expect when the deal settles. We do actually have a dedicated settlements team who work day in, day out in the lender portals. They know all of the policies and they make sure that every deal, as soon as the application's approved, is a really quick and easy process to get your client's settlement sooner. Touching on our finance consultants, so they are our finance brokers. The reason we call them consultants is just to avoid any confusion between what you do and what we do. And they come from a range of industry backgrounds to ensure that there's a really broad range of expertise. Their team is broken up into 3 sections. So we've got our consumer team who look after your cars, personal loans, boats and jet skis, just to name a few. Then we've got our mainstream commercial team who look after primarily your low doc applications, usually anything under about $150,000, but they're definitely more of the high volume commercial team. And then we have our specialised commercial team who look after all of your assets over $150,000. It could be a luxury car, or it could be all of your equipment and manufacturing items. So they can look after anything outside of that. And they also take care of all of the business lending and the cash flow lending. And then the last point, which I really love about Amfin, is that you own your customer, and we actually don't market directly to any of your end clients. We work purely on a referral basis. So that comes down to, even on the end degree, clients can't believe we make these calls, but if a direct client comes back to us with a new inquiry, the first person that we're calling is the referral broker who submitted the initial lead, to make sure they're happy for us to look after their client again. And if they are, of course, and that deal settles, they will get the commission payment as well for that second lead. Moving on to the client workflow, and this is a nice summary of the life cycle of a deal that you can expect by using Amfin. So you might receive a scenario from your client and you're really not sure whether a lender will take that deal or not. And that's when you can pick up the phone and chat to your relationship manager at Amfin. We'll ask a number of questions and then be able to give you a quick yes or a quick no for your client, depending on whether we've got a lender on our panel that will look at the deal. From there, you can jump online and submit the lead to us. There are some scenarios that will be nice and straightforward. You've got a gold bar client, you know exactly that they will meet a policy and you just need to get it through to us. That's when you can skip calling your relationship manager. You can jump straight online and submit the lead. As I mentioned earlier, once we receive the lead, we'll be in touch with both you as the referring partner and then with the end client within 30 minutes. They'll make sure that we've filled in all the gaps, covered off all the conversations you've already had with the client. And then the call will get transferred through to our consultant team, depending on the nature of the lead. So the consultants will conduct a full discovery call. They will understand what is most important for the client, whether that's rate, whether that's turnaround times, or also whether they've got a slightly unique situation or form of income and there's specific policy we need to meet. They'll also do a soft touch credit file check at this point, just to make sure there's no surprises that would pop up if it went straight to the lender without us checking. So it really gives us full visibility of the client and where the deal is going to be best placed. And they'll then submit the application on behalf of the client for approval. Once the approval is done, we will then look after the submission and the settlement for the client and on your behalf to ensure it's a really nice and quick process. So we'll move on now to the tick and flick model. So as I mentioned earlier, this is our most popular service model, and it really relies on us receiving the basic details of a lead. So it might just be your name, email address, or your client's name, email address, and phone number. It might be a couple of extra notes. They might still be looking for their car or their asset. They might have found it and have put down a deposit. There's a lot of different stages that you can send a lead to us. But as you can see here with a tick and flick, we are responsible for everything from there. So that looks like your scenarios, taking the application, doing the credit file check, and also all of the compliance, especially when it comes to the consumer side, where it can be a little bit onerous if you were to write the deal yourself. We'll then look after all of your submissions and then settlement. Okay, so I covered this off a little bit already, but the basics of a tick and flick, all we need is the name, email address, and phone number. But then you can also fill in additional notes, whether the client is looking for a consumer or a commercial loan, the price of the asset, which you might have a ballpark figure of, you might have a little bit more information, how you might know the client. So whether you've settled a home loan with them recently, if it was a referral from your existing client base, that context really assists us with the warm transfer and the warm referral. And then you might also have their documents. It might be their driver's license, it might be their pay slips, it might be some recent tax returns or BAS statements, which you can then submit with your tick and flick. Which will speed up the application time. It means that the client isn't having to send over their details twice, and it's a nice and smooth process. So we've covered off kind of what the basics of a tick and flick is. There's a lot of things that you can then capture if you have the time, if you have the relationship with the client, to better assist in sending through a qualified lead. So a couple of the questions that you might want to ask your clients is, are they a property owner? If they are, that's fantastic news. Do they have a mortgage or do they own it outright? If they're not, are they looking? Because that will essentially help you with hopefully assisting with their mortgage once they're ready to settle. Are they renting or boarding? If so, how much rent they're paying? Are they on a visa, which is a big one to ask? There are a lot of visas that lenders simply will not look at, but especially at the moment with the temporary skilled shortage visas, there's a lot of lenders that will then look at options for those clients. Are they planning to put in a deposit? If so, how much? On the commercial side, if you've got clients who aren't property owners, it's usually pretty integral that they do place a deposit for the asset. However, there are some lenders that will look at different options and provide some flexibility. what is the client's credit rating? So if you've run the credit file recently, that's obviously fantastic for us to be able to see. Or have they mentioned that they might have a black mark or a default? Have they had a bankruptcy in the past? All of those pieces of information are really good to know from the get-go, but we do still do the second check just to make sure. And if it's a commercial lead, if they're ABN and GST registered, and for how long. So a lot of lenders now will only look at clients who have been ABN GST registered for more than 2 years. On our panel, we do have a couple of lenders that will look at 3 months or 1 day ABN GST registration. But that really allows us to narrow down the search from the get-go. Okay, and then if we move on to our full applications, which is the other end of the spectrum, this is really the high involvement option for the referring broker. So you can see here, the referring broker takes care of the scenario and taking the application. So that involves really getting to know the client, understand their situation, and also collating all of the documents. You'll also look after the quote, making sure the client is happy with that, all of the compliance, and then collecting the documents from the client. We will then receive the lead, make sure that the client meets policy for the lender that you've selected, and then submit it on your behalf. So definitely I would say tick and flick would take maybe 10 minutes. A full application can be a much longer lead time and can take a little bit longer to get documents from the client, but it's just a consideration. I'll go through our lenders afterwards and you'll be able to see, hey, maybe a full application is perfect because I know exactly what I'm doing, but I don't have access to one of the lenders and I'd love to be able to get their rates for the client, versus a tick and flick where you can leave it all up to us and we will do everything we can to get the best quote for the client. Okay, so a summary of our lenders. There's probably a lot that you recognise here. This is certainly not all of them, but you can see we've got all of the majors on our panel who we use from time to time. Definitely not, we don't send high volumes to the majors just based on turnaround times and being able to move quickly with the asset finance requirements. Some of the other lenders that we use is Pepper. They have fantastic commercial and consumer products, and they have a really fantastic rating system for clients. So you can really easily place your client in a tier and get some really competitive rates. Plenty is fantastic in the consumer space for your personal loans and your asset finance. And then one that I really like to touch on is Volkswagen Financial Services, who you'll have access to when you're accredited with Amfin. That is a dealership only product, and they don't have many brokerages on their panel, but they offer competitive rates for both consumer and commercial applications. And they will also they've got a specific startup policy who looks at clients who have been 3 months ABN GST registered. We then also have some of the subprime lenders on our panel as well, who are really good options for clients who have Centrelink income, or they've got defaults on their credit file. So they're like your green lights and your finance ones. There's a lot of breadth in terms of policies that all of our lenders cover, which means that of all the deals we receive, we can probably place about 95% of them with lenders, and then it's really up to the client on how they would like to proceed. Okay, as part of becoming accredited with Amfin, we actually have a marketing service that is available and free of charge for all of our accredited brokers. So you can see these flyers here. We really have a range that is much broader and can cover every kind of commercial and consumer finance product. What we can do as part of your accreditation with Amfin, we can actually customize these flyers, draw them up with your logo at the top, your color scheme, and then all of your contact details at the bottom. And we do also have some social media tiles that we can format similarly for you. This allows you to become outward facing with the broad range of products you can assist with financing, re-engage your existing clients, put them on your social media, boost inquiries as we get to end of financial year. There's really a lot of options. You can use them as broadly as you would like. And the goal is to assist you with generating more leads. So if you can place them in-house, that's great news. If you'd like to send them on to us, that's also great news. We will happily assist with anything that you would like, and anything that is generated from these marketing flyers. Okay, a couple of testimonials from our brokers. We work with over 5,000 brokers nationwide, and a lot of the brokers in the tick and flick space really enjoy using us for being able to have access to a really wide range of products, and the level of expertise and broadness of expertise that our consultants have means that you get a quick and easy result for your client every time. And the second one is just around the representation that we provide for brokers. So it's always a warm transfer. It's Phoebe calling on behalf of your brokerage. It means that we act as an extension of your business and really do what is right for your client every time. Okay, so to kind of wrap things up a little bit before we get into questions, I thought it would be nice to touch on a couple of success stories that we've had recently. So in the consumer space, we had a client who called us. He had a family member in hospital and really needed to be able to focus on the care of his family and make sure that everything was provided in a timely manner. So he requested a $40,000 personal loan to assist with medical treatment. We were able to get that approved within 3 hours, and given the speed and ease of a personal loan application, he received the funds within 24 hours, which meant that he could get back to focusing on and caring for his family in what is already a very stressful situation. This is an interesting one. A client called us. He was jumping on a plane to Queensland to go and pick up his new car that day. I don't know how people live like that. It's relatively stressful, but thankfully his broker had most of his information and the client could quickly sign a privacy form before he jumped on the plane. So he just required $40,000 for the new car, loan term of 60 months, and he needed the finance approved as soon as the plane landed. So based on the information that we were provided by the broker, we were able to secure approval and settlement within 5 hours. But when we looked at this situation, and this is really the value of our consultants, we looked at what was most important for the client. In this situation, the rate didn't mean anything. It was about getting approval as fast as possible. So when the rate was a little bit higher than kind of the lowest rate in the market, the client really didn't mind. He drove home in his new car and was very happy. And then the last one on our commercial space. So we had a client purchasing a drill rig for $330,000. This lead sat with our specialised commercial team. And they had to overcome a couple of challenges with regards to securing finance for the piece of equipment. So the age of the asset, it was 15 years old, and it was also being sold privately, which is a challenge that a lot of lenders don't like to look at just based on the risk involved with a private sale. And after he chatted to his primary business banking partner for a couple of days, his broker then came to us, requested some assistance with the finance, and we were able to get it approved within 3 days, which ended up being a fantastic way to keep his business moving, and he was able to continue operations. So another great success story. Now, Leah, I am running a little bit ahead of time and have reached the end of the presentation. Do we have any questions?
So let me just get my camera back on. At the moment, we don't, guys. So I'm going to encourage everybody, if you do have any questions for Phoebe this morning, to pop it into our chat box. I note that there's a couple of you that have said good morning. There are enough of you online, and I figure for the amount of people online that Phoebes, you've done an incredible job this morning. Actually explaining all the things Amfin's got to do. What I'm going to do, though, is ask you a couple of questions that I've got, because obviously I know yourself and the team from Amfin, but I just want to push a little bit further on getting around the strange things that Amfin can fund, for better words, and things that I didn't understand or didn't realise at first, being you can do jet skis. I think at one point you were saying motorhomes and caravans are something that you can do as well. And coming out of COVID, I know a lot of the mums and dads of society went into buying caravans and camper vans because we are spending a lot more time now in our backyard. How are you seeing those kind of deals come through, and what's the traction rate like for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of lenders on the panel that will look at both your caravans and motorhomes as well as jet skis. And the demand has certainly grown as well. But the application process is pretty similar to applying for a new car. There are some differences in ages of asset just based on the lifetime of a caravan. And a boat as well. But the popularity has been huge. The rates are really competitive. I actually had an inquiry that came through yesterday for a tiny home, one of those mobile homes, and they were moving. It was for a horse trainer, and she was moving from stable to stable every 6 months or so. So whilst we didn't have a specific finance product for that, we were able to combine or actually get an appetite from the lender who looks at caravans and put together a bit of a customized option for that, and with a personal loan for her.
So I think that's fantastic too that you're able to customise. Samuel Fisher's got a question for us though. Sam's asked a question of, does commission vary between a tick and flick deal versus a full application?
It absolutely does. And the commission that's paid for the referring broker is proportionate to the amount of work that each party takes on. So with the tick and flick, for all commissions, you'll get the brokerage and origination fee. That's combined. For a full application, because it is labour intensive, you'll receive 70% of the brokerage and origination fee. With a tick and flick, for about 10 minutes work and for us to look after everything on your behalf, you'll receive 30% of the brokerage and origination fee. And one of our business partners did a bit of research recently for the average commission that a broker would get for a tick and flick. And based on the complexity of the deal and the price of the asset, a referring broker for a tick and flick can still expect to receive anywhere from $500 up to about $2,500.
And Phoebe, how often are commissions paid?
Usually weekly. So it's a nice way to generate some quick cash flow. So say a deal settles on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, the broker can expect to receive payment the following Monday.
Fantastic.
Yeah, nice quick cash flow. It's a really nice perk of being able to engage in asset and cash flow finance. Especially
if a broker's writing, say, let's hypothetically say 2 or 3 deals a week. And we're not talking about having to write $100,000 or $300,000 transactions. We're talking about getting the car loans through, sort of looking at that side of it, that it does create a tidy, I'm going to say side gig, but side hustle for a broker. Now, the question that I've got around at the moment, Phoebe, you're on most aggregator panels these days, is my understanding. If a broker does want to write business with you, but they're not accredited at the moment, what's the accreditation process?
The accreditation process is very quick and easy. It is a literally 1.5 page form to fill out, and I can share that with all of the attendees or whoever would like to become accredited with us. And then that will get you set up in our system. The relationship manager and the referring broker will do a quick onboarding session just to go through the 101, get familiar with the online partner portal, and then you're essentially up and running.
Oh, wow. And things are fast and quick in your world, which is what we like. But we will make sure, guys, that we do get that application form through. So, Phoebe, I'll get you to flick that over to Mariah and Kelly for me. And we'll make sure that when we do the closeout email for all of our brilliant brokers that are online today, that we will get them over to them. But, guys, we have wrapped up. It doesn't look like there is any other questions that are sitting in the box at this point in time. But should you have any questions that come up after today's session, please make sure that you do still send them through to either myself, Mariah, Kelly, and or the lovely, beautiful Phoebe that's sitting with us this afternoon. As I said earlier, we will be putting this webinar recording up on the FBAA YouTube channel for you to access in due time. I'd just like to thank Phoebe and the incredible team over at Amfin. I'm sure that everybody on today's call did find it educational. And look, we always do love it when a webinar comes in a little bit quicker than what we expected as well. I know that Fridays are a really difficult day out there for our brokers, with it being primarily a settlement day. Also, it is the beginning of the magic round for the NRL. I'm just throwing that in there as well. So, guys, as I said, today's webinar recording will be up on the YouTube channel, and it will be up there in due course. We'll also be sending through an email with Phoebe's contact details and the other RM details for Amfin on it. Should you require any more information, You can get in contact with them. You can also, as I said, contact the team at the FBAA office and we will steer you in the right direction. Your CPD code will be out to you shortly. So, Phoebe, thanks again for joining us. I hope everybody having a fantastic Friday. As I said, it is Poets Day. And for those of you that do know what Poets Day stand for, 2 o'clock is the official kickoff mark this afternoon. That's when I will be boarding my flight and heading back to Brisbane. So, guys, have a fantastic Friday. Have a really safe weekend. To our Queenslanders that are on or in Brisbane and on the Sunshine Coast, please stay safe this weekend with all the torrential weather that is happening down there. And I hope to see everybody soon. For those of you that are on from WA, we will see you at our PD Day next week. And if I don't see you there, we'll see you at the Better Business Summit. But from me to you, have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you so much.